This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Well, we've never done one of these before.
Shh. Mate. You got to get me out of here. Send someone. Please. I've got to get out. I can't take it anymore.
What are you doing?
Oh, my head's gone today, mate, honestly. I just woke up this morning and I've been trying to convince myself that everything's all right. Do you know what I mean? Last week, a couple of days in the garden, bit of sun, you know, and then I just woke up this morning and thought, I've got to go to work. I've got to get back to normal. I can't take this anymore. And yeah, that's how I feel today.
First of all, how's your dad?
Yeah, he's all right. Seems like a lifetime ago, really. When was it? Actually, a week ago, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was in bed, and the phone goes, and I could hear it vibrating, and I picked it up, and it said, "Mum." And it's like, you know, when you get one of those calls, and you think, like, my mum would never call me at 8 o'clock in the morning unless something was wrong. So I was like, shit. So pick it up, and I'm like, "Oh, Mum, yeah, listen, your dad's in hospital. He's fine. He had some chest pains last night. Just bloody overdone it in the gym, didn't he? He'd done 20 days consecutively in the gym, and he was like phoning me every night, going, I'm like, honestly, I'm an absolute machine at the moment. That's 21. I think it's up to 22 days. 21 days on the spin, twice a day in the gym, and that's what he's like. He's all or nothing, right?" So I said to Mum, I said, "Did he have a heart attack?" And she said, "No, I don't think so. But you know, he had some tightness in his chest, and you can't drive to the hospital. So we called them, and they sent an ambulance, and he's in Broomfield Hospital in Chelmsford. He's got his phone with him, blah blah blah." My sister's a right panicker, so like we decided not to tell her, like, first of all, because she's just a nightmare. So I text my old man, said, "You're right." He said, "Yeah, look, you know, just in here, they might move me today." Gave it a little bit of time, and then I called him a couple of hours later, and he was a bit like, you could tell he was in a bit of discomfort, you know, like as your parents do, they sort of try and make you feel like everything's all right, you know, not to worry about anything. But I could tell by speaking to him, he was a bit sort of, yeah, you know. I was thinking, So I said to him, "Dad, have you had a heart attack?" He said, "No, I don't think so. No, I just had like tightness in my chest, you know." So anyway, that day they moved him to Basildon, which, funnily enough, is supposed to be one of the best cardiac units around. And then, yeah, they moved him Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday morning he had what's called an angiogram, where they make an incision and they go through you with like a keyhole camera. You're awake, right? They used to do it for your groin because he had one of these 18 years ago. And I think they do it for your arm now, and it goes into your heart, and it's a camera, and it looks into all your arteries. And he had 2 arteries that were blocked. So our worry was, like, you know, depending on how bad a heart condition is, you can either have a stent, which is basically what blows up the artery and seals it so that it's, you know, the oxygen can get in to the heart and the blood, and or you can have a bypass, which is obviously a bit more major. So luckily, while they were in there, they found these 2 blockages, and they put the 2 stents in, and then he came out and called us after. And you know, the worst thing about it was you can't go down there. You know what I mean? And I just kept thinking to myself, what if he pegs it? You wouldn't even get a chance to go and see him. And that's obviously what a lot of people are having at the moment. You know, away from the corona bereavements, is people dying in hospital that you can't even get a chance to go and see. You know, you then start thinking things about, bloody hell. Because when my old man goes, I'd like to put a great funeral on. Do you know what I mean? Like a proper party. And that's what he would want. And I started thinking, bloody hell, you wouldn't even be able to have a funeral at the moment, you know? So, and then you start thinking about the possibility of contracting corona. But even now, he's been home since Wednesday. So every day I'm calling him going, any coughs, any temperatures? Because that would be brutal on him now, you know, in his position with an underlying illness like this, you know, you'd be in a real bad spot. So he came out on Wednesday afternoon, and he's been good. He's been sleeping a lot. He was worn out. I went round the other day to drop something off to him, and unfortunately I had to sort of just see him. I was in the car and he was at the on his doorstep, but you could tell he was a bit tired. But every day he's been getting better and better, stronger and stronger. Going to take some time, but he's had it before. He had one stent before. Now he's had another two, so we're going to call him 3-stent Hearn. So it is what it is, you know. 71 years of age, you know, but he's still here, in good spirits. Lucky he's such a fit boy, really. I mean,
Well, we wish him a speedy recovery, and we hope he's okay. Obviously, Edward.
thank you.
I
still think you're a prick.
It's all right, as long as he's healthy, it don't matter.
But because he's not well.
I know for a fact your dad doesn't think I'm a prick, but anyway, you might think.
Okay.
What can you tell us, Ed? We like to hear some positivity from you in these times. So
You picked the wrong day. What can I tell you? I can tell you that I think it's going to be exciting when we're back. And I'm not talking, when I say we, I don't mean we, I, Matchroom. I mean we, universally. Because I feel like the world is almost resetting itself. You know what I mean? Where wherever you were before in your life is still relevant, but it's not as defining as it was previously. If that makes sense. So if you were a bit down in the dumps, if things weren't really going your way, if business was good, if business was bad, if your relationships were positive, if your mindset was negative, now's your chance eventually when you can reset all that and you can try and make a change or make a difference or get a break or have a good run or try and maintain your position. Because it's just mad when you think about it, how everything was so hunky-dory, wasn't it? We all have aggravations. Some people's lives was in better shape than others, but at no point did anyone say to themselves, yeah, I reckon what's going to happen is the world's going to shut down and we're going to have to stay home for 6 weeks. And let's have it right, the world has shut down now. This isn't like London has just gone into a little bit of a lockdown. This is the entire world. So I feel like I think everybody is a case-by-case situation, and you have to spin it how you want to spin it. And I am the king of spin, right? But how I spin it is I say to myself, maybe this is a message or a gift from God for me, where I get a chance to slow down. You know, you talk about my old man having a heart attack. I mean, my dad's dad died when he was 44 of a heart attack. His dad died when he was 45. My dad had his first heart attack at 52. Right? And he ran 12 marathons. I mean, he was smoked too much, but we talk about my dad. So I'm 41 this year. At what point do you have to look at your life and say, don't you think you're knocking the bollocks out of it a little bit too much? You know, and I've been completely, you know how, I mean, you've been knocking the bollocks out of it. You know how much I do. You know the traveling I do. You know what, you know, and you get to a point where you just think, maybe that ain't the best thing for you. I don't mean that I'm going to stop doing boxing or it just means that sometimes you've got to think to yourself, you can't do everything, you know? I mean, I'm now spending time with the kid. Like I've had 6 weeks of no flying. I've got to know more about my kids and learn more about their mannerisms and understand them more during this period than I potentially would have done till they reached the age of 18. Do you know what I mean? So that's my spin on it. And it doesn't matter whether people think it's true or that's my spin on it. And you have to, everybody's situation, you have to look at the same, you know? My only worry now is that I've had 3 weeks, right? And I've been surprised by how much I've enjoyed it, to be honest. But I am getting to the stage now where I'm ready. Do you know what I mean? I've had my sleep. I've worked out as much as I can. I've laid in the sun a little bit. I'm ready now. I'm ready for this new challenge. And the new challenge, and when we say new challenge, this is a challenge that we've never faced before. This is not, we've lost a fighter or we've signed 2 fighters or, I don't know, we've got a new TV deal, we've lost a TV deal. This is a new era now for our sport and for sport in general. More sports scrapping for the prominence of position within the marketplace. More sports scrapping to sell tickets in an initial environment where people will be reluctant maybe to be in that kind of environment. Do you know what I mean? The plans that we've got is going to blow everybody's minds. And I'm not talking about fights or shows. I'm talking about the concept now that I am gathering and building and creating for our return is what's really exciting me, because it's going to have to be all those things: creative, it's going to have to be innovative, it's going to have to be smart, it's going to have to be different, because there is going to be an initial period, probably from the end of June, for 4 to 8 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, where it's not going to be just a case of, doors are open, everybody. It's not going to work like that. And we can't afford as a sport to wait and wait and wait and wait. We will do everything within the regulations of the British Boxing Board of Control and, of course, the government. But we are already on it. We are already thinking. I've already written to my fighters and said, be ready, because we will bounce back faster. We will bounce back better than anybody else. And those plans do involve major plans. They involve creative plans. They involve plans where we will try to ensure that we get back to business faster and more effectively than anybody else.
Let's talk about some of the very few kind of boxing issues and stuff that has been going on over the last sort of week or so. I want to first ask you about the WBC situation, which is, it's just baffling. It's hard to keep up. You could probably tell us more than...
Which division?
Well, with Haney and Campbell and Fortune. Because when I spoke to Devin Haney the other day, as far as he was concerned, he was being reinstated as the champion. And then we hear from Maurizio Suleiman a couple of days after, who says that's not the case. So what is the case with that? And what's happening with Campbell?
I don't really know. Basically, this is a situation. Devin Haney was made interim world champion because Lomachenko wasn't available because he was going on to fight Teofimo Lopez. And Haney beat Abdullayev to become the WBC interim world champion and become mandatory to Lomachenko. They made Lomachenko, so that was prior to the franchise, they made Lomachenko after that franchise champion, which was disappointing for us because it meant that Haney couldn't fight Lomachenko. Anyway, so when they made him franchise champion, they made Devin Haney the world champion. They elevated him to that. He had his first defense on the KSI Logan Paul card, and he'd done his shoulder. He injured his shoulder in that fight, had to have an operation, and was going to be out for somewhere around 8 months. So the WBC, which I thought was a little bit harsh at the time, said, you're now going to go into recess. And we are going to make Luke Campbell against Javier Fortuna the WBC world title. We made that fight for April 17. with the winner having to fight Devin Haney when he returns from injury in June. Now, because the April 17th card was cancelled because of the coronavirus, Devin Haney now comes out and says, well, I'm available. And they haven't fought. So therefore, I'm ready to fight. I'm no longer in recess. I am the champion and I would like to defend my belt. That's where the problem starts now, because Luke Campbell says, well, hang on a minute. You've ordered me to fight for the world title. I've got a deal with another fighter to fight for the world title. I've turned down other opportunities in my career to fight for this world title. And Devin's saying, no, you can't now fight for my world title because I'm ready and I'm active. So both sides have written to the WBC from their lawyers with their arguments, and we await a decision from Maurizio Sullivan.
What do you think will happen?
I don't know. I mean, I understand both arguments in the sense that, you know, for Devin, I don't think Devin should have gone into recess in the first place, to be honest with you. But he was put into recess, and he was supposed to fight the winner. But because of what's happened in the world, he's no longer really in recess. He's ready to fight and defend his title. Now, if I'm Luke Campbell, I'm thinking, well, you can't order me to fight for a world title and then me agree a deal and then you just take it away from me. So it's a bit of a sticky situation, to be honest with you, and a tough one for us because we represent both guys. So I understand both arguments, but ultimately there will be something in the rules that will establish the answer. And like I say, both guys have given their legal representations as to what they feel is right and wrong, and we will await a decision.
Just finally on that, what's an ideal situation for you, or an ideal resolution for you?
Luke Campbell fights Devin Haney for the WBC world title, but he's on the other end. See, Luke's number 2, so Javier Fortuna's number 1. But obviously, we've got a deal in place with Luke and Fortuna, but that deal, and they're saying that could become the interim world title now, with Haney defending his world title, and then the winner of Fortuna Campbell fighting Haney. But the deal in place for Campbell Fortuna is not the same deal if it was for a WBC interim world title, because it's not a world title fight. It's a right mess, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, I would rather Devin Haney was made mandatory to Lomachenko and he has to fight him or vacate the title.
I was just talking to Carl Froch on an interview, and which is out tomorrow, actually, which will be Tuesday. So, a couple of questions about this, really. He obviously told us a little bit about your idea around the virtual press conferences. That's one thing.
I can't believe he's blaming this whole thing on me.
Pretty much.
Listen, I phoned up Carl Froch and I said, mate, I've got this idea. We're going to be doing like virtual press conferences. So it wasn't even a virtual press conference. Basically, it's 3 screens. It's me in the middle, and it's 2 rivals on either side. Now it's going to be current rivals, i.e. guys that have got fights planned. It's going to be future fights planned. And it's also going to be fights of the past that may have happened or the ones that didn't happen. So, for example, it was going to be me with Groves and DeGale, right? Me with Brooke and Khan. Me with Devin Haney and Garcia. Me with Fowler and Fitz, right? Just like winding it up, basically, in the middle. So I phoned up Carl and said, listen, would you be up for this? I said, I'd love to get you and Calzaghe. I said, I don't think Joe will do it, to be honest with you, but I would love to get you and Calzaghe at it. So I would talk about Froch's career, I'd talk about Calzaghe's career, and then I'd say, now, right now, you two, you never got in the ring together, did you? But if you did, Carl, tell me what would have happened. Too big, too strong, the Cobra, by KO, you know. Anyway, then we'd have got at it. So he goes, yeah, I'll do it, but I don't think. And then the next thing, he's doing an interview saying, Eddie asked me to do this thing. Hold up. Eddie asked me to do this thing. You know, I'm not sure whether Calzaghe will do it because he never really fighted me, but, you know, too big, too strong. I'd still like to fight him and I'll fight him on the cobbles. or something like that. It's like, where's this come from? But he did say to me, Carl, he went, well, instead of doing the interview, couldn't we just do the fight? I was like, Carl, I'm not sure really it's got any legs. Oh, okay. But he's just, listen, Froch's just dying to fight, isn't he? Really, I think deep down, underneath it all. What did he say in your interview?
So he said that he doesn't believe that Calzaghe would ever come out of retirement. But
No, I think he's right.
But he said if he did, he would fight him. If he did, but it's can take that two ways. But
yeah, I would never see Joe fighting again. But who knows?
Who knows?
Isolation does strange things to you.
Apparently so. Ed, I want to talk about Dana White. I see Regis Prograis a week ago kind of echoed some people's thoughts that you should try and follow in the footsteps of what Dana White did try to do. Obviously, that was kind of scuppered by ESPN and Disney. But yeah, it's just kind of your thoughts on his idea and the private island situation.
Well, I don't think it was a private island, was it, in the end? I mean, wasn't it an Indian reservation in California where actually they were looking to stage the I don't know if that's offshore. I don't think it is, but I was a bit like you know, as people do nowadays, you particularly take like one line of what I say and then spin it out in some way to create beef. That's what someone did with Dana White. So I said that Dana White was stubborn, right? And I said that I think it's bad taste to be trying to go ahead with a show. But then if you actually look at the sentence, what I said was that the reason Dana White is so successful is because he has got the balls to have a crack at something like this. I also said that I would probably say I'm the one most likely to roll my sleeves up and go, don't worry about it, come on, let's just crack on. We'll get this done. But even me in this situation wouldn't even consider trying to put a fight on. And the main reason for that right now is because there's too much risk. I'm not talking about UFC, I'm not talking about his idea. There is too much risk right now to ensure that the doctors are in place and we won't get pullouts, withdrawals, other doctors we don't want, and particularly access to emergency services, i.e. the hospital, if a fighter becomes injured on the night. So when you talk about a private island, so what happens if a fighter gets injured on the night? They get airlifted out and taken to a hospital in a helicopter. I mean, not being funny, but I think the hospitals right now have got enough on their plate without having to worry about a fighter coming in who's just been knocked out, knocked unconscious. And that's the same with over here right now in the UK. You know, it's just not fair to put unnecessary pressure on the NHS by admitting people to hospital because we were too selfish to you know, by putting on a show. You know, I mean, listen, I will always try and make sure that we carry on and, you know, we do the shows and stuff like that. But right now, it's not even up for consideration. The only thing is when. So, like I said, for us, the plans that we have in place are to make sure that boxing returns faster or as fast as any other sport. And in my opinion, that won't be in an arena. So we have to make sure that when these guidelines, when this legislation, and listen, we're speaking to government people all the time across all our sports, boxing, darts, snooker, everything, because these guys have got to earn money. You know, and I'm starting to get a thought of all this isolation stuff. I understand it and we have to do it. But at what point are you going to let people go back to work and to their jobs before this country is completely and utterly fucked? You know, because every day that passes that people aren't at work, there isn't trade, there isn't, you know, the money markets are closed down, everything, we will probably be spiraling into a deeper hole. And when we come out of this, you need to fear for people's mindsets and, you know, their mental health and their economic health as well. And sooner or later, the government's going to have to say, and it's not now, but it will be in the next few weeks, I feel, we've got to go back to it. And when we go back to it, we've got to be in a position. We're still unique, aren't we? It's very easy for, I'm talking about the sport of boxing. It's very easy for my old man to say, right, we're going to set up an hockey and we're going to get the best players in the world playing darts. You know, we got it starting on Sky this week. Home darts at home. You know, then it will become darts at a specified arena with a TV crew. But it won't be 10,000 people, 15,000 people in June or July. That's for sure. You know, but boxing's different. Boxing is dangerous. Boxing, you need to have access to doctors. You need to be able to have the ability to take people to hospital for emergency treatment. And right now, that would just be too selfish. Because I think the NHS have got enough on their plate, don't you? You know, to worry about fighters coming in. So, going back to Dana White, I admire him in a way because he was, you know, he's stubborn, and he just got it in his head. I'm going to do this. I can do it. Now, imagine how many people said to him, Dana, just leave it. No, I'm going to do it. And eventually, he just got told by the big bosses, and that was it.
I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I said that it is the sort of thing that we wouldn't kind of put too dissimilar from you doing. That makes sense. But I understand what you're saying. You wouldn't.
I think I'm the most likely person to do it. Yeah, in boxing. I think I'm the most, because I'm stubborn. And again, if you tell me I can't do it, then I will probably try and do it. But this is another level. You know, this isn't. Yeah, you might get a situation sometimes. I'll tell you a situation where you have a fallout with the British Boxing Board of Control, for example, right? And there's been promoters in the past that have had a fallout, and you know, where you say, okay, we'll go with someone else then, right? We'll work with another board. I've probably said those words before. I'm sure Warren has. I'm sure others have. You know, and you just go off on one, and then actually, when you go down the route and you explore it, you go, don't listen. Actually, don't be silly. We work with the British Box. They're out. That's the legislation, but it's the ego, it's the stubbornness to say no. And like I said, that's why I gave quite a few interviews where I said, I can't believe ESPN will be allowing this to go ahead. I mean, look, WrestleMania, WWE, whatever it's going, still going. But I just feel like when you're talking about people potentially getting hurt, you know, going into hospital, and you know what, right now, do people really want to see, at this minute, people punching themselves in the face, punching each other in the face? You know, you've got to have a little bit of empathy for what's going on right now. And we don't want to see people getting hurt at the moment. Right, you know, give it a few weeks when we're back and running. Everybody will love and appreciate the noble art of boxing and the thrill of the UFC. But not right now. It just didn't feel like it was right.
Did you make some
comments? So I'm not getting a private island.
You're not doing it?
No, but I'm doing something extraordinary.
In this country?
Yes.
What's happening with like Saudi? Because you had a show in Saudi. What's been said about that then? Is that just
nothing? I mean, I think again that was due to be first week of July. Unlikely. I mean, I do feel that everywhere is going to be different, isn't it? It's not just going to be a global lockdown where, you know, every government gets together and says, right, everybody, on July the 1st, sport worldwide is allowed. Some sport is going to start a lot sooner in some countries than it will in other countries. And Saudi may be a country that get on top of things sooner. So I don't think July is a complete non-starter for Saudi at all. But we need to be able to put these fights somewhere, whether they're British title fights, whether they're our prospects, whether they're world championship fights, whether they're pay-per-view fights. They've got to go somewhere. Ideally, we want them where we scheduled them. But I also wouldn't rule out the bigger fights going internationally.
Did you make some comments recently? I read, but I just thought I'd check with you first.
Probably.
Did you make some comments that you said that in regards to kind of this whole AJ Fury thing, that Deontay Wilder would be showing weakness if he didn't take that next fight? Did you say that?
Of course.
Got to check. If I don't hear you saying
right.
that, let's check.
Of course, he'd be showing weakness. It would actually be embarrassing, to be honest. And listen, I would love him to step aside. But I spoke to AJ the other night. I said to him, "You imagine I would have come up to you, and you think about this as well, right? Because you know AJ. After AJ Ruiz won, and I go up to AJ and I go, AJ, listen, so and so's been on. They'll give you a few quid to step aside and not take the Andy Ruiz rematch." Think about that conversation, right? How do you think that would have gone? Something like, fuck right off. There isn't an amount of money in the world you could give me. And that was what AJ said the other night. He said, there is not an amount of money in the world you could have given me to not take that fight. And if you take step aside money, you're showing horrific weakness, because you are giving someone an opportunity to take what you should feel is yours without you getting an opportunity to win it back.
You're talking about at that level, because step asides is not like a new thing. It happens all the time.
Step asides, if you believe in yourself, if you back yourself, you should never step aside. Never.
Do you tell boxers that though when you're trying to get them to step aside?
I've not been in a situation actually where listen, someone will probably dig something up, but I can't remember a time where I have had a deal with a fighter to step aside. And, you know, you look back to, I remember they were talking about, do you remember when Yard was going to step aside for Kovalev to fight Canelo? Remember? Listen, sometimes there's a situation where you might have to step aside and then you get a shot against someone else because you're stepping aside. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you've got a chance to fight, I don't know, this guy, but if you take a few quid to wait another couple of months, you'll still get a vacant title shot in an easier fight. I understand that, but if you're giving up the chance to fight a pound for pound great who you believe you can beat, or you're stepping aside from a rematch, I think that's a bigger thing. If you lose your title and you've got a straight rematch to win it back, if you step aside and you let someone else try and claim what you feel is yours, then and I could never call a fighter a coward, because these guys are braver than I'll ever be. But that is wrong. That is a sign of weakness. That means you either don't want it enough or you don't believe you can win. And knowing Deontay Wilder like I do, which is not a great deal, I cannot imagine in a million years Deontay Wilder will step aside from this fight. He has too much pride.
But I think,
you know that Deontay Wilder don't particularly like Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder definitely don't like me. Shelley Finkel, Heyman, they don't like me. You think they would like Joshua to get a chance to become the undisputed heavyweight world champion? No. And when we do the Fury fight and the deal, it'll probably be a 2-fight deal anyway. So I'm a lot more comfortable with them getting that out of the way now, you know? But this all stems from the comments that I made, which was, do you think now there's a chance you might just go straight into a Fury fight? And I said, anything's possible. I said, look, if Bob Arum phoned me up tomorrow and said, listen, Wilder wants to step aside, there's definitely a conversation to be had. I just can't see it.
But this of is effectively what you were trying to do with Pulev, I suppose, as well, isn't it? Did you?
I've not offered Pulev any step aside money.
So there was never a
We've
conversation
not.
with Pulev sitting.
No, no, never ever, never ever, never. There would be a conversation to be had if Wilder was willing to step aside, and we would have that conversation. In fact, it wouldn't even be me having that conversation. That would just be Bob speaking to Pulev and Ivalo Gotsev and saying, "Would you?" Yeah, I think in this situation, it's almost one where Aaron would come to me and say, "Right, I spoke to Wilder. I can get him to step aside. I spoke to Pulev. They'd be willing to step aside. Would you be willing to go straight into the Tyson Fury fight?" I'll answer that now. Yes. But would Pulev step aside at his stage in his career? Probably. Would Wilder step aside? No, I don't believe so. If you step aside, you're saying you can't win. Because look at what's happened in the world with this. Anything could happen. You could step aside, watch AJ go and fight Fury, beat him, become undisputed world champion, and then we get another one of these. And boxing's off for 6 or 7 months. And then Wilder, and then Fury and AJ vacates a belt and goes and fights or whatever. And then you don't get your shot again. That's why we had to take the Ruiz fight then. We didn't want to wait. You can't wait in boxing. And especially when we come back from this. Fighters have to understand, don't wait. If you believe in yourself, if you think you can do it, take it.
What's your thoughts on the big fight?
Which one's that?
John Fury versus Mick Theo.
Mate, you are so cringe. Before you phoned me, I was listening to your John Fury interview. What are you doing?
What, mate?
You're stirring up a fight between two 50-year-old geezers who are clearly, handfuls.
Eddie, can I just say something, yeah? Just be careful what you say. Nothing to do with John Fury. Just be careful what you say.
In what respect?
Well, I'm just saying, people will compare a similar situation to maybe something you've been involved with in the past. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I'm a promoter.
Oh, okay.
I mean, when I put a fight on, when I decide to do a licensed fight, and it's up and running, we will promote it. You are trying to play the job of promoter, and poor John Fury, you're egging him. Look, I heard the conversation. It's like play. So John, I mean, obviously, have you heard what this geezer said about you? I mean, John, what? I wouldn't have that, John. Would you? Well, I certainly wouldn't have that. I mean, John Fury don't need an excuse to have a tear up, does he? I mean, he's 24/7 ready, John Fury. So you're just like, obviously, John, I don't know. I just want to show you this interview again, John. Wouldn't have that, mate, if I was you. Well, I won't be having that, KUGAN.
I never said that. All I'm doing is like I would do in any situation. And if they're going to raise some money for the NHS, why not? If they're both fit and healthy.
No, listen, I certainly wouldn't have any objections to either man doing anything at all. But yeah, I don't know. It's not really one for me. But listen, if it's going to raise some money, we can't be involved with it, obviously, because it is a white collar fight. But I'm sure you'll get people to watch it, mate.
Ed, you'd promote two cats having a fight. It's going to sell. So I don't know what you're going on about in this. I really don't.
No, I couldn't get involved in a white collar fight. I'd have my license taken away.
No, you couldn't. But what I'm saying is, listen, like I said to you, if they both want to do it and they're both kind of fit and healthy to do it.
I'm not. What? When have you heard me? When have you heard me say, "Oh my God, it's disgusting"? I mean, two 50-year-old guys calling each other out on social media and scrapping in the ring. Oh, just disgusting behaviour. All I'm saying to you is I can't go anywhere near it, but good luck to them. And if it raises a few quid, nice one. Don't start getting on your high horse, mate.
Are you team
in your
Theo?
fucking Fresh Prince t-shirt?
Shout out Bel Air Athletics. Ed, are you team Theo or team Fury? What one are you?
I don't know the other guy. What's his name?
Mickey Theo.
Yeah. Seems like a nice chap. I don't know. Maybe I've met him before. I don't know. John. it's hard not to be Team Fury, because John has always been a big supporter of mine. So I'll never back against John Fury in a tear up either.
Right.
So
wait and see what happens. Eddie, I know this is a little bit of old news now, but I didn't ask you about it before. But can you make some comment on this Martin Bacoli video, Eddie, please?
Just as I understand it, he put a tweet out, which he should never have done, which is explicit situation saying disgusting or something like that. And then everyone said, what on earth are you sticking that up for? So he took it down, and then I don't think he said anything for a few days, and he just gathered pace, and people were talking about why had he posted this, and then he put an explanation out and just said, I'm really sorry, I thought it was disgusting. I can't even remember what he said, trying to raise awareness for it. It's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. And I'm really sorry if it offended him. And I took it down immediately when I realised that people thought I shouldn't have posted it. But it's just another one of those situations where it's like, just think. You know what I mean? Just think. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you other than he should never have put it up in the first place. I know that he thought it was disgusting, but just don't post it, because you're only asking for trouble.
Have you spoken to Dylan White recently? He's still in Portugal.
Yeah. I spoke to Dylan White. I messaged him yesterday. It was his birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it yesterday's birthday? Yeah, I messaged him and just said happy birthday. He's all right. He's just training hard out in Portugal. We know that he drove out there, 4 or 5 days before the lockdown? Obviously not knowing there was a lockdown coming. And now he's got all his boys out there who are in camp with him. It's a good place to be. I think that one thing that's going to be really interesting is when we come back, some people are going to ask for a full camp. Do you know what I mean? Which is anywhere between 8 and 10 weeks. But if you do that, there is a good chance that you will have to wait your turn. So the smart ones are staying super ready. It's not, there's only so ready you can be. You can't spar at the moment, right? So you can't be doing loads of pads with your trainer, but you've got to be ready enough, probably ready enough to go on somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks, because we don't really know, do we? We don't know. And if I can get this idea off the ground that I'm working on at the moment, it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Which is what?
I'm not telling you at the moment.
Okay.
But it's going to be a situation where you might get a 4-week call. And as we always say, Coog, sometimes these fighters are like jumbo jets, circling around, waiting for the call. Hello, Mr. White. You now have permission to land. And what we can't have is, Roger, I'm not quite ready yet. Okay, Mr. White, Dylan's probably a bad example, but, no. Okay, you need to circle now for another hour. That hour could be 3 months. So, right, who is ready? I'm ready. No, which one was it? I'm ready. No. I'm ready. Okay, anyone who's ready to land? You know what I mean?
What are you doing? Get this man out.
Right, isolation got me like, so yeah, you know what I mean, though, don't you? Basically,
I heard you use this analogy a few years ago.
Yeah, it's true, but it is true. If you're not ready, you're going to miss your slot. You're going to miss your slot, and you're going to have to wait.
I was watching your Instagram live the other day, and that geezer that popped up.
Mate, it was so funny because I text Logan.
Hello.
Logan, are you frozen, by the way? I know you're better now. I've got a lot of time for Logan Paul. He's a decent bloke, isn't he? Quite a nice guy. And I said, will you come on my Instagram live? And he's like, what's that for? I went, oh, I'm just talking to some fighters and that. And he was like, pretty busy tomorrow. I'm like, how can you be busy? No one's busy. Anyway, so he came on and I was just scrolling through and I thought, oh, he's invited. I thought, what a touch. So I pressed it. I go, here he comes. Here he comes. Logan Paul. Yeah. And it was nothing, like just some bed. I went, come on, show your face. And it's just some random geezers pops up. Hey, Eddie Hearn. All right, mate. Where's Logan? No, it's not. And I've looked at the name and realised it weren't even Logan Paul. So, yeah, mate. Hilarious. I've only just got over it, to be honest with you.
Involved writing these Instagram lines, mate.
Mm.
What else did I have to ask you? Oh, yeah, your computer game idea. Is that, how realistic is that?
All it was, yeah. So I've been on at EA Sports for ages. And I had a conference call with them the other week. And I was like, is it just me or is there a huge demand for a fight night game?
No, it is. There is.
I mean, I only have to tweet about it. It goes mad. So they're not really interested. I mean, again, I don't want to speak on their behalf, but I can just tell you that from the conversations that I had with them, I don't think they have any interest in boxing. I think it's probably more geared towards UFC. So I thought to myself, all right, fuck it, I'll do one. Now, since then, I've had 4 or 5 software companies get onto me saying, yeah, these are mad, these Instagram lives and stuff like that. You know, everyone, yeah.
Hold on. Fucking hell. Hold on a second. Fucking stopped.
Don't tell me the whole thing weren't recorded.
It hasn't. It's just, this is stopped. Hold on, because there's not enough memory on the fucking thing. No, I think we're all right.
Sure?
Yeah, it still says recording, so I think we're fine.
Okay, so basically, I thought I'll just do one myself. And since then, I've had 4 or 5 software companies get in touch with me and say they would be interested to do it. So I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm learning about it at the moment, and I'm probably going to make my move.
You should do. 100%. All right. I think we've done a fair.
Are you okay? You okay, hon?
Yeah, all right.
You don't really. I mean, look, listen. I'll always give you my time. I mean, what was that? 40 minutes, something like that. I think it was a 7 out of 10. But you don't really seem. I don't know.
What, mate? I'm all right. I'm actually all right.
What are you doing every day?
Chasing interviews every day. Every day.
All right. Are you working out?
Not really, if I'm being honest.
No.
No, that is something I need to do.
Mate, what is going on with the amount of meat you're eating as well? Like, every day you're posting pictures of barbecues. Like, how many people have you got living at your house?
Me and one other.
Who's that?
Are you a policeman?
Oh, come on, geezer. No, it's a lot of food, though.
Yeah. Eat it during the day. Just cook it all and just have it during the day. Have a little nibble at night. You know.
Okay.
There's no point doing a barbecue and putting like one thing on it, is there? Or 2 things on it. You get that. No, there ain't, is there? You might as well just cook a load of it. And
Well, when I do a barbecue, I put on what I want to eat.
No, I just want, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to chuck it all on and have it. Yeah. Don't worry about it, Ed. Honestly, I think you're thinking too much into it, Mark.
Mate, I told you, my head's gone. I want to get out of it.
What's going on with
I'm ready.
Froch keeps having digs at you, Barnett.
Yeah, Mark Wright, come on. He goes, right, I've shaved my hair off. He went, you've either got to shave your hair off or donate or whatever. Eddie Hearn, Ollie Mers. I was like, donate. I'm donating.
Do not shave your
hair. Mate, I can't shave my hair because my hairline's all over the gaff. Now would have been a great time to have a hair transplant, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? Just like the week before isolation, boom, straight off. Get the old few moved about. We would have been buzzing. I'll have to wait till the end of the year. Froch is just like, Froch is on everything. So he's like, look at my hair, he'll go, You can have your hair done. You can have a little transplant. If you had any Botox, you had, I'm like, no, mate, fuck off. Bit of a perfectionist, old Froch.
Yeah, did a little half hour.
As far as he's concerned, but the Earth is flat as well. He's got one of those boys.
Theories as well, which we won't go into.
Edward, fit as a fiddle, though.
Absolutely, he's fit as a fiddle.
Edward,
have you finished watching Ozark?
Yes, finished Ozark.
I finished it last night.
Solid. A bit all over the gaff. I mean, it's quite compelling.
Why is it all over the gaffs?
I watched Tiger King.
I watched one episode of it.
No, you've got to watch 3 or 4 episodes, then you'll watch the whole thing. I watched one episode, turned it off, and someone said to me, "You've got to watch 3 or 4 episodes." I did. It was okay. Still safe is probably...
Safe's good.
No, safe or take? Safe. Safe is probably one of my favourites. Someone just messaged me and said, watch Snowflake. Hold on. Snowfall.
Okay.
Snowfall. Apparently he's good.
Have you watched The Stranger?
Yes, that's the same author, isn't it? As the Safe. Money Heist.
I
got that on at the moment. No, because I hate the dubbing. I can't stand stuff that's dubbed.
Dubbed wasn't good. Do you know what I've just been watching? Dirty John.
What's that?
It's got Ruth in it from Ozark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, she is brilliant in it, yeah.
Dirty John. What's it about?
Only 8 parts. It's about a woman that falls for this. I'm only 3 episodes into it. Falls for a guy, and the guy isn't really what he seems. You know, like, look at you. You aren't really...
Mate, you are... If things go a little bit tits up with IFL, you've got massive potential as a Netflix reviewer, because I thought you explained that really well, mate. I need to watch that now. In fact, I'm going downstairs. I'm just going to put Dirty John on.
Basically, a woman meets a guy online, right, and he's not all what he cracks up to be.
Craps up to be?
Cracks up to be. It was cracking up then. Cracks up to be. Yeah.
Sounds amazing, mate.
All right, mate.
But how many more weeks could you do this for?
Another day, max.
I mean, I know we've got no choice, but I don't know. But the government's... It's been 3 weeks today, hasn't it?
3 weeks, bang on 3 weeks today. But they're not apparently...
So are they till Thursday? Yeah. What do you reckon they're going to say?
Another 3 weeks. And then review it again. Definitely. Minimum 3 weeks again. Just got off the phone to someone who let me know.
Did you? Yeah.
One of my sources.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think 3 weeks.
All right, mate.
Edward, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, guys.
Like you've been on holiday, but anyway. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm 3 days in the garden. The tan's unbelievable. That's the only good thing to come out of it. I'm going to go on the Peloton now.
Oh, yeah, we saw you put an Instagram clip of that up, didn't you?
Mate, brilliant. Absolute machine.
Edward Hearn, thank you very much. Talk to Eiffel TV.
KUGAN, CASSIUS. Speak to you later, mate.
Speak to you soon, mate. Be lucky.
Take care.